I remember those days. I had three part-time jobs at one point, with extra two classes on top of a full schedule, and I couldn't get enough sleep. Like by the time I finished with work and school, and I couldn't do homework. There was no time for homework. It was just straight to work, and then get a few hours of sleep, and then you're back up to your morning class, and then I was falling behind. I went from A's to C's, and then I got saved with a bartending job, and that pretty much changed everything because the bartending job paid as much as all three of those other jobs did, all those other part-time jobs, and
Damn.
bartending was chill because I could just do like weekends, Thursday nights sometimes, but mostly Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then you were good. You were good because tips. Yeah, it's just different when you're a bartender. I was serving too. I was doing
Yeah.
a bunch of shit, yeah, but it wasn't the same until I started bartending, and I got in a nice hole in the wall, and then you start to make really good money, and you get to be kind of like the way people treat a bartender is really nice compared to the way they treat somebody like a server. It's just like more respectful, more trying to be on your side. The girls like bartenders and flirt with them all the time. So, you get a lot of game this way, and you meet a lot of interesting people. You have conversations with people you wouldn't expect. And yeah, that was cool. That got me out of my situation with working three jobs, and I was literally eating. I tell the story all the time. I was eating peanut butter and jellies. Like I had a $50 budget for food for the month,
You're going
and
store brand.
yep, and I stretched that shit. And you can. I don't know today what you can make with $50. Probably not much because inflation's gotten so ridiculous. But I was just eating the store brand, toxic bread, white American bread with peanut butters and like the fucking store brand jelly, and that was it. And I was stretching that shit because, hey, what's the most nutritious thing you could possibly eat that's super cheap? Well, it's like, bro, you got to survive. So on peanut butter. And I did that while applying for jobs. Like every fucking day, I was dressed up applying for jobs, bro. Every fucking day in my little tie and my little button up, just going to do bullshit interviews. No, most of them lead to nowhere, and finally got those three jobs, and still wasn't enough as usual. Then I got declined for my in-state tuition because I was out of state. I went from Georgia to California to go to school. So I don't know. It's fucked up. Everything that could go wrong pretty much went wrong. And the initial plan was like my homie was going to hook me up with a job when I moved out to California. I moved out there with like $1,400 in my pocket, I think it was. And went out there. Dude couldn't hook me up with a job. Then I had to like emergency find work. And then I emergency just literally applying everywhere, going to, places that would help you get jobs too. I forgot what they're called. Jesus Christ, it's been so long. But went to like a job fair kind of thing, but it was with the government, and they're trying to place us in like anywhere, bro. I was like, oil fields, I don't care. Put me anywhere. No fucking jobs. There's nothing.
Mm.
And yeah, I just kept hustling and finally landed a job as like a server. A server, I believe it was at Red Lobster, and a server at another restaurant. And so I had two server jobs. And then my third one was, I think it was either Lowe's or Home Depot. I can't even remember which one it was. So those were the three jobs I had. And then I got another one. I forgot about that. So the second server job I left because the people there's two chicks that were jealous of me and basically got the manager against me. So they reduced my hours to nothing.
Mm.
I was making them look bad. They were sharing tips, and what happened was, if you took a test, you would get a next level of like tip share. So, for example, let's just say you only get 20% of tips, but if you take this food test, you get 50% of tips, and then you get to share tips with the bartenders when you pass like a food or a drink test. Well, I went in there and passed the food test, which these girls were working there for 2 years and they hadn't passed that shit yet or taken it. So I started earning more money than the people that were there for 2 years, and they were looking stupid and shit. Like, who's this young guy? And young girls jealous as fuck. And so they plotted against me, but essentially got me fired without having me fired. So then I got a job at where the fuck was that? Not Advanced AutoZone. So then I was working at AutoZone. I was working at Red Lobster and at Lowe's. And those are my
Mm.
three jobs, bro. Fucking draining. Just dead. But I met people, ironically, in AutoZone. I met somebody that I would call a lifelong friend, him and his girlfriend. I met his girlfriend there, and then we all hung out. And then she would always bring girls for me and stuff like that. So that was fun. We ended up going on vacations together. Like, just, you're living in California, you go down to San Diego, like 20 kids, you rent a house on the beach, shit like that. You go to
Yeah.
LA, you go all over the place and shit. And so I met a really, really cool people from that job. Red Lobster, I ended up meeting my ex, who ended up sending me down the red pill path where I woke up to all the shit. Yeah, and then Lowe's just made me realize that, the corporate jobs are fucking bullshit and you'll never get by on them, and they treat you like a number and you're practically cattle, and it's soul crushing to just sit there. So, and yeah, that pretty much went on until my friend went to this Wingstop bar and he met the owner there. And my friend is one of the dudes that was like, I always mention, he's like a brother to me that took me out to, nightclubs and kickbacks and parties and talking to girls and forcing me to come out of my shell and all this shit. Well, he's a very open person, very extroverted, and he met the owner of the bar, talked to him, and he's like, I know a young guy, he's handsome as fuck, and he talks pretty slick, dude. He would kill it here because all you have is women working here. And he's like, you need to get some handsome guys. You know how many women would flock here? And yeah, so that guy was like, you know what, I'm interested. Like, and he got his number, his personal number. He set me up with a fucking job interview, and I got hired the next day. And that was super cool. I ended up bartending there. I started off as a server, but they moved me up really quick. He wanted me in the bar, and I started bartending there, and I was crushing it until, again, I had to work under this like Mexican old dude. He's like 50 something years old, straight up creeper. He was the one that was hiring. The bar manager was hiring all the chicks because he was creeping on them hard as fuck. Just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I started doing good and the girls were giving me attention and all this shit, he started sabotaging me, basically placed me to open the bar myself on Saturday by myself. So imagine you're behind the bar trying to mix drinks, but also because it's like one of those sports bars, right? So I have to bring you wings and bring you all this shit too, because there's no servers working, it's just me. So I have to run over there, put all the food orders, take them back, also mix people drink at the bar. And that's opening on a Saturday morning, dude. It's like sheer stupidity. So dude was just trying to sabotage. I was falling behind. I still remember. I was just apologizing to people. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. The bar manager is he only put me on schedule and just trying to let them know, like, my bad, guys. I just can't get to everybody fast enough. This is crazy. People were like waiting 20, 30 minutes. It was fucking pandemonium over there. And so he kept trying to do that over and over again. And I ended up leaving that job for something else. I can't even remember after that point, but I was getting lessons in life that you cannot depend on anybody, and you can't let anybody hold all the power in your life when it comes to finances. So that was just, everything was just constantly reinforcing to me, you have to do this on your own. You cannot depend on anybody. And then finally, I landed a really cool job that was, I ended up being a regional manager. So I was that dude in the Costco store that was like trying to sell you those water filters. So
Oh yeah, this was the water filter story that you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was the water filter shit. So I was just doing the bullshit water filter stuff until one of the, I guess, manager dudes that hired me was like, damn, you're pretty good at closing people and getting them to get water. So something happened. I don't even remember exactly. I ended up going to a meeting up in San Luis Obispo, I think it was. And I met the owners of all the regions in California, the region in California that I was working in. And it was a husband and wife, and they were franchising all over with those Costco's. And they loved me, and they had so much trust in me. And I was like, this is how they wanted to meet me, because it was like an anomaly that my store was getting so many appointments, and that the appointments that I was getting, the sales guys that would come into your house to like pitch you the product, they were already just sold and wanting to buy the product. So they like had so much information already, and that was unheard of, because their old way was something simple like, hey, are you guys interested in a water filter? And someone says yes, like they just hand them a pamphlet, sign their name up, and like schedule them for an appointment. And so they go in there blind, not knowing. I would talk with them. I would explain to them shit. I came up with a pitch. It wasn't exactly accurate, or kind of in a way. I would tell people the same water you're buying in that cart right there, like the packs of 18 water bottles and shit that say, what was it? Kirkland water. So that Kirkland water is reverse osmosis. I told them, I was like, that water right there is the same water that this filter produces. So you wouldn't need to buy those anymore. Think of how much money you waste a year. And that would get people's attention. It wasn't the same water, obviously, but it's RO. So, and that filter was an RO filter. And
Hmm.
I was then explaining, they would be intrigued. I would explain to them, like, hey, he's going to come to your house. He's going to do this test. This is what it's going to look like. He's going to mix the water from your sink with some chemicals. You're going to see some separation and all the nasty stuff that's left behind and blah, 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 blah. And they got excited. And I was like, it's free. You guys don't have to pay for nothing. They'll come. And if you're interested, just get it. Anyways, dude, I had such an insane, not even just close rate in the store, but my salesmen were coming to me and were like, dude, what the fuck are you telling these people? Because like I'm hardly doing anything. They're ready to buy already. And I was like, hey, dope. So I went from some pleb selling some shit in Costco to like running 3 cities. It was, I think it was Santa Maria. I can't even fucking remember. San Luis Obispo, Bakersfield, and Santa some shit. I can't even fucking remember. Anyway, so then for the first time in my life, I was in the position of hiring people, dude. And it was a clown show. I'm a college student. I'm young as fuck. Don't even know what I'm doing. Kind of. I'm like smooth talker. Obviously, I bartended, go to nightclubs all the time. Now doing sales and shit like that. And now I'm a fucking interviewing like 50 people in front of a Costco like that area, the food court outside. And I'm just sitting there interviewing people, and like I'm starting to see now the perspective from management and like the fucking resumes I'm looking at, and like, so tell me why you're interested in this bullshit questions, right? And I basically only hired people that I liked talking to and that I would enjoy working with. I didn't give a fuck was on your resume. That was just like a formality. But then I started to see like, as a manager, this is what you're looking for. It's not really what's on the resume. It's like how well you fit. You know, do I want to deal with you every single day? How easygoing are you to talk to? So then I was doing that shit for a while, and then something happened again, another fallout. We had a meeting at little HQ over there in San Luis Obispo, and I remember I was sitting across from the wife and the husband, and we're at a table of like 20 people from all their little regions and whatever, all the little managers in every store, and I remember pitching them. I was like, hey, I got a new sales pipeline. I can teach what I'm doing to people. Let me hire a bunch of people. Let me teach them this exact thing, and we can get all our sales up like crazy. And the husband was all aboard, bro. He was like super. He's like, listen, I'm gonna set you up with this. We're gonna have a marketing budget for you for that. He's like, I can't. Well, I'm excited. You've had really strong numbers in your area. Blah 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 blah. Sold me all that shit. I was excited because I was gonna be the team. I was gonna be the lead for the company for all in-store hiring and sales and training. So I was
But the
gonna be
wife came
like,
in.
yeah, yeah. And then I was like, oh, this is fucking crazy, dude. Finally, someone sees the potential, blah, blah, blah. Sure enough, like a week passes. They get back to me. The husband comes into the store to hand me some, like, new stack of pamphlets or whatever the fuck. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him. I'm like, so what's going on are we moving forward with this? I'm excited to get started, Of course, bro. He's like, you know what? My wife, she's just apprehensive about, blah, 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 blah. And here comes the fucking excuses, bro. That took the wind out of
Well,
my
well,
sails.
well.
Yep, immediately. Wind was gone out of my sails. I went from like excited to build a piece of this company up to like, fuck this place. It's completely useless. These people are retarded. And so that's how they took, and I could have transformed that business for them if they just gave me a little bit of leash and trusted me. I would have done so much because I was hungry.
Hmm.
What a fuck that, and that taught me another lesson. Never waste a potential good employee that is super fucking hungry to hit the ground running and will give you the shirt off their back. They are worth their weight in gold, and pay them appropriately. All these little lessons I took with me when I started my business. If I started my business in remodeling and construction before all of these experiences, I would have 100% failed. It took me being in multiple positions like this, and I had plenty of jobs, dude. These are just the three that I'm talking about, but I went through multiple jobs that didn't work. And if I didn't have these experiences, along with bartending, all the shit I said, I even bar backed all that shit before bartend, everything. If I never got to see all this shit, by the time I started my business, it wouldn't have worked because I took every little piece and I fit it into a nice puzzle, and I had the full picture of what it took to succeed. Sure enough, when I started my business, I was extremely strong. I had a partner also, so I was a co-owner. and he was more experienced in the on the ground side with like project management, actually getting the material, talking to the vendors, directing the workers on what to do. I was only really smart in the sales side and like the back end. Like I know how to make the contracts pretty. I can get the website running, all that technical shit on the back end, lawyers, accountants, taxes, LLCs, all that shit. He was complete like newbie at, didn't know where to begin. So it was cool. We combined our strengths. We started the business that way. And then I would remember because my father was doing remodeling construction for 20, 30 years prior. I would go on the wall with him. We would give him jobs and I would go and work with him on the job site and he would teach me stuff. So I would be covered in fucking cement. I'd be working 8 hours, waking up at 5 in the morning. And I remember I would go to these sales calls because I had the company phone on my hip. And I would just take the calls. I'm like, hold on, I'm covered in paint. I'm covered in cement and dust and stucco and like finish, all this sort of fucking materials all over me. I would just answer the phone and people would be like, hey, saw your guys' business on Google. Best fucking decision I ever made was just, how you list a business on Google. And people started finding us through Google searches and that shit exploded. So people were calling and I would not hesitate for a second. I would just tell them, I could be there any minute you need me. Just let me know what time works best for you. And they would be like, well, could you come this afternoon after work? And I'm like, yep, I'll be there this afternoon. They were all shocked. Everybody was like, what the fuck is going on with this guy? Like, how is he so available and all this other shit? They were shocked at the customer service and like the care that they were getting. I was treating them like family because I knew that's what I wanted when I was in their position from all the fucking bullshit jobs I was doing. So then I would go to their houses and we would walk the perimeter of the house and they show me this is the problem. And I just knew I had a way of talking, like the gift of gab. So I had a way of talking with them and selling. And bro, almost every fucking house I went to, I sold everything. And I didn't just sell the original problem they had. I had addendums on top. Addendums up the ass that were worth more than the original thing they wanted to do. And I don't even want to say I spun it in some way, but I made them realize the value of what I was selling. And I wasn't even selling them. I was just letting them know your house is falling apart in this area, that area. This needs to be repaired. Hey, you're going to have structural damage behind your chimney. You see those fucking woodpecker holes? Well, you've had that, you told me, for 15 years. You haven't gotten to it. How many times has it rained in Atlanta, Georgia? I guarantee you your 2x4s are all shot. The plywood is completely rotted out of its fucking mind. Don't be surprised. I'm going to have my guys just come over here first. They're going to cut a square. That's it. Just a little square. We'll patch it up. I just want to show you potentially we're going to take video and pictures if there is structural damage and how you want to proceed. And then they would be like, oh, fuck, I didn't expect that. Blah. And then I would explain to them the process, like, here's what happens if it is that bad. We're going to cut all the way down until there's no more water damage or termite damage or whatever the fuck you have. And they would already have expectations of what potentially could be there. So maybe I only needed to cut a quarter of your chimney and they would be relieved and then we would fix it. And that job went from a couple woodpecker holes for $700 to like, I just charged you now $7,000. And they would be like, fuck, thank you for coming out and, blah, 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 blah. But I just made the process extremely easygoing, no sales pressure tactics. I was like speaking to a friend. I was like, hey man, this is just what you got to deal with. Like, here's how much it'll probably cost. I know it's really expensive. We can maybe patch it up if you want. I would send my dad out there and I'd be like, my dad is actually going to be the one doing the work. He can feather this in really nice. The repair, you won't even be able to see it. I just want to let you know that a couple years down the line, this problem is going to, rear its ugly head again and it might cost you even more. But just giving you options because I know money's tight, blah, blah, blah. And people would love that shit because I'm not over here trying to sell you on anything. I'm just kind of telling you, I'm dispensing reality. Like, here's what it is. Here's what we can do. And here's going to be the outcome. And I leave the choice up to you. And they love that shit. So I was selling up the ass, dude. I started the business, like I've told the story a million times, on a $20,000 credit card. I fucking racked it up in debt. And that was it. I was hoping everything would succeed. And all that fucking knowledge and experience from the prior jobs made it so. Because I had direct knowledge of what to do in certain situations from all of that. So my lesson in life is even the bullshit jobs teach you a lot. There's a lot to learn in mind-numbing, boring, monotonous work that is not fulfilling and it's numb and it just keeps you going because it's a paycheck. That's it. Like even those jobs, I look back
Yeah.
and I go, Jesus Christ, dude, I hated that shit. But I am so grateful I got to experience it because without that, who knows what would have happened later when I tried to start a business. So yeah, after that shit, there was no more peanut butter and jellies. There was $1,000 steaks for dinner. I bought Porsche. I fucking still remember
Yeah,
the
the
look.
Bullsh.
Dude, I remember this is one of the moments in my life that I'll never forget. I went out of state to go buy it, bought that fucker. I came home, it was all blacked out, sick as fuck, and loud as fuck. And I parked it in my dad's driveway. And when my parents came out and they saw that shit, because if you've owned Porsches or any sports cars, when you start them, they rev up to red line and then go back to normal. So they sound like it growls when it starts. And I
Yeah.
just I just started the car with the keys, and the look on his face was like proud, like unreal. That car was worth more than their house, So I made it in a sense, like damn, my son made it, which was a very proud moment for me. And my mother was just like she couldn't fucking believe it. Like, they got in the car. I was like, here, drive it, all this stuff, and yeah, I was like, I can't go back. I can never go back. I can never go back to an hourly wagey. I will never go back now that I've got my break as a business owner, and I will die before my business fails. And that's the mentality I've had ever since. Once you get a taste, it's extremely rough. It is fucking brutal. It's extremely stressful. Entrepreneurship is not like this Candyland rainbow shit that they sell you. My weekends, I don't have any. I don't have a concept of weekend or week. My days blend together. I just work. Oftentimes, I could be working until 2 in the morning. It depends, you know? Shit is random. There's no
And you wouldn't have it
schedule,
any other way.
and I wouldn't have it any other way, dude. It's great. Other days, I'm not doing jack shit. I'm sitting with my thumb up my ass and just chilling, staring at the window, wondering, like, fuck, I'm not doing shit today. I need to do something. And other days, I'm like, there's not enough hours in the day. Fuck, there's just too much to do. So, yeah, when I started my business, initially, before we started becoming successful, I couldn't tell you how many hours a week I was working because it felt like every hour, every waking hour was work. It didn't stop. And I did that, my business, while I was working for that other guy's remodeling and construction company. I was a project manager for his company, but new, pretty green. And the project manager I met there, he's the one that I started the business with. And he's still running the company. That company is still active right now, running. So I sold it before I moved out here, or I should say, moved my family to Romania, retired them, and yeah. Now YouTube is a business, and also day trading was a business, and managing your own money is a business, and you can turn everything, any idea you have, into a business. You can sell products, you can do whatever you want. Shit, I got into weed too. My friend in California knew a bunch of grow. I bought a bunch of marijuana. I ended up getting arrested with that too, but I got into weed business too because arbitrage. Why not? So it's like buy weed from California, ship it out, and send it somewhere else, and you make a profit because it's legal. I could go anywhere and buy it in the fucking Humboldt County, but this place are working on legalization. I ended up getting arrested for that shit. It was funny as fuck, and then they let me go, and then they dropped the charges, and that was it for that because it got legal. I got arrested, and a week later, it became fully legal in the state. I got arrested in like New Mexico or something, and so I've invested in literally everything. I've tried everything. I even tried selling like I don't know if it was Cutco knives or some fucking bullshit products door to door. Dude, I tried everything there was possible just to get some job, some money, some experience. So I don't regret any of it. Did it suck in the moment? Fuck yeah. There were times where I wish this wasn't me, but at the end of the day, it culminates into what you would call success. But when you tell these stories to people, they just see what's on the front, right? The surface level. Oh, he's so lucky. Oh, he doesn't work hard. Ah, he got a lucky break. It's like, dude, anything but luck. Were you in the truck with me from 4 in the morning, driving to everybody's house, sticking pamphlets on their mailboxes by the thousands? Like spending entire mornings doing that shit, just nonstop through every single fucking neighborhood. Yeah, it's like they don't know everything that goes in day to day, but the finished product sure does look pretty. So I don't envy any business owner. I look up to them as like admiration because I know if I went through that, they went through something similar or worse just to be where they're at. Maybe some of us do make it and it's a smooth very linear, projection up to success. But for everybody else, it's a real rocky road. So, second lesson is don't be afraid to fail. And if you do, it's okay. Just keep going. The only way you
But
truly
he just
fail is
needs
when
to
you
work
stop.
once.
Yep, you only fail when you stop. Truly, you only fail when you stop. Apart from that, you're still in the game if you're still trying. So, yeah, that's my little life story in a nutshell of the drudgery of low pay, dead end jobs, and it can culminate into something. It can bear fruit. Yeah, but I know. Been there. I've been there, dude. Trust me, been there. You'd be surprised. 10
Yeah.
years? Yeah, 5 years alone. 5 years alone. Listen, so I went to college for like, I think 2 years before I dropped out. And then I started the business. And within 9 months, 6 to 9 months, the business became successful. And it was that kind of day to day grind. I would say 9 months. Yeah. About 9 months, it was just nonstop grinding. Then I ended up quitting my job. At 9 months, I ended up being able to pull a salary that was equivalent to what the guy was paying me, and I went balls to the wall nonstop in that shit. While my business partner was still working for that company because he had to make ends meet for him too. And then we started earning enough where he could quit too. And then we were both in full time, and it was a wrap from there, dude. A wrap. And yeah, life changed completely. But that's yeah, everything in a nutshell. It's kind of crazy when I look back on it. So yeah, don't trip on your life right now. Shit is difficult. I get it. College is a pain in the ass. Um, but have the entrepreneurial spirit. Like always, like when we were doing the YouTube channel editing stuff, take what you learn, dude. And I would be shocked if you told me you haven't started your own channel and just started pumping out those videos on your own time. It would shock me. I'd be disappointed if you actually said you haven't done one on your own. That would be disappointing to hear because you already have the talent for that. You have the vision. You made them already. They look good. You just have to hit the niche and the topic. And I'm like, bro, one of those alone, if they hit, your life changes forever.
Yeah. Oh man.
And that's some shit you could do on your own time, like here and there. You don't, there's nobody rushing you to finish them. When you're on your own, you're just like, all right, I'll just get this one done when I get it done. But put a hard line on yourself. I need to do this by, let's just say, a week from now. Because if you don't prioritize something, this is another thing you guys got to learn. It's like if you don't put a hard date on things, I need to do this by, life gets in the way, bro, and it drops on the priority list every single time something gets in front of you. I'm telling you, put hard dates on shit and hold yourself to them. That's the only way you're going to get stuff done. I'm a mean procrastinator. I'm a professional procrastinator. I wait until the last fucking second. This is my life in perpetuity, and that shit made my life more difficult than it ever needed to be. So I'm telling you, the way out for guys is, unless you have Adderall, is literally fucking put a hard date on it and hold yourself to that shit. And then you'll get it done. But if you just say, okay, one day I'll get to it, you'll never get to it. Okay, I'll finish this soon. Soon never comes. Just fucking do it when you say you're going to do it. Put a hard date on there, and that's it. Yeah. But
Begin
for
with
you,
the end in mind.
exactly, man. Exactly. I want to do this by when? Okay, December 25th. I want my first video out, for example, by Christmas. Great. By Christmas, it's getting done. No fucking later. And you start to work through that shit. Yeah. But, dude, there's opportunity around people. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy how much opportunity there is around every single person. It just slips through their fingers, dude. I don't have time. I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention. I was doing some other shit. I didn't believe myself. There's fucking a million excuses, bro. A million excuses. Like for you specifically, the talent you have, you're in film school. You're already talented at editing. We've worked together. You already
Yeah.
know how to do faceless YouTube channel. I taught you the whole system top down, right? You did
Yeah.
incredible
Beginning to end.
videos. You already got views on those videos. So you see it's possible. It happened already. And it's just
For
like,
sure.
how did you not go? Did you go on your own and make a channel and try?
Like a separate one?
Yeah, but on your own, completely from scratch.
No.
Bro, that's
Bro, I
mind
know.
blowing.
I know. Bro,
Yeah.
I know. I know. I know. I'm not even gonna sit here and make an excuse about it. It just no, I'm not even gonna say it's just because that's starting an excuse. I know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't even apologize to you. I gotta apologize to myself. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. That shit's crazy. Yeah.
Both
But
foaming at the mouth.
dude, you're not the only one though. It is what it is. Yeah.